Welcome and thanks for joining me. It's Christian, founder of the Reiki Business Collective, host of the Build Your Reiki Business podcast, and author of Reiki Business Ready. And in this video, I'm sharing with you three things to help you with your new year planning. Three things to encourage you for planning on your Reiki business journey for your year. You know, whether you are brand new in your Reiki business or you've had a Reiki business for years, at the beginning of the year, we might have a mix of feelings and emotions about the planning process. We might be really excited about planning for a new year and all of the awesomeness and stuff we're going to do, or we could feel kind of overwhelmed by the process, feel confused and uncertain about where we want to go and what we're doing, and just feel like, oh no, this is big in terms of like the task and the doing. And so I want to encourage you with a few things for your planning. Now, at the beginning of the new year, many businesses engage in things like strategic planning, goal setting, all of that. Whatever you call it, New Year planning, strategic planning, goal setting, visioning, whatever you call it, I've got three tips of encouragement for you. Number one, I want to encourage you to not be overwhelmed. So even if you feel overwhelmed by the process, I want to encourage you to take a deep breath and know that, first of all, you don't even have to do it. So if you don't even want to do the new year planning, the visioning, oh no, scheduling out a full year, don't worry, you don't have to do it. Yes, I've just given you permission. You don't have to do it. But if you are going to do it, I also still want to encourage you to not be overwhelmed, to know that you can approach the planning in a very small step kind of a process. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think about a year, a full year, and planning out all 12 months, it can feel a little overwhelming for me. And I've been doing this for a while. And so I want to encourage you that you don't have to plan out the whole year. You can start small. You can plan out one aspect of your Reiki business. You can plan out 1 month of your Reiki business. You can plan 1 week. And so you can start small. One way that I like to do this at the beginning of the year for my Reiki business is that I do 12-week planning. And so I don't have the full year planned out with all of the stuff I'm going to do, all of the things I'm going to work on, all of the projects and everything. I start with the first 12 weeks. That equates to 3 months. And so the first 3 months of my Reiki business, I have a plan. But after that, I don't know. So I do want to encourage you. I mean, I don't want to say I don't know. I do, yes, I do have ideas, of course, but they're not planned out like the next 3 year, the 3 months are. I know exactly what I'm working on in my Reiki business for the next 3 months. And so you too can break it down into smaller and smaller increments. So know that there's no requirement to have a whole year planned out. That can feel kind of overwhelming, especially if we're new on our Reiki business journey and we're saying, heck, I am even having trouble figuring out the next step. Indeed, you're not alone, and it's absolutely okay. Now, number two, I want to encourage you as you're doing your New Year visioning and planning and goal setting, whatever you want to call it, is to look backward in order to go forward. Now, what I mean by that is that when we want to move forward, it can be really helpful for us to do an assessment of where we've been. And so if we look back over the last year of our Reiki business or the last several months of our Reiki business, and we assess that time frame, so we assess that past year, we assess those past few months, and we reflect on them, we can pull out things that maybe we didn't enjoy doing, or maybe that didn't go so well. We can reflect on challenges that we had. We can pull out things that we really liked doing over the past few months in our Reiki business. And then we can use those for the planning of the next phase on our Reiki business journey. And so if we find something that, yeah, I really didn't like doing this one particular thing, well, can you let that go? Can you change the way that you're doing it? That's going to be really helpful so that we can move forward in a more positive way on our Reiki business journey. So reflection is so important. And this tip number 2, looking backward in order to move forward, is what that's all about. It's the reflection piece of it so that we have information that can guide us in planning out the next phase of our Reiki business, whether that's 1 year, 1 month, 1 week, or even 1 day. And tip number 3, I want to encourage us to have a general direction when we're doing our planning. Now, remember, I said you don't have to have everything planned out. You don't have to have a fully formed vision for exactly where you're going to be in your Reiki business on December 31st. But having a general direction is really helpful for us, because when we walk out our front door and we say, I want to go somewhere, I'm not sure where I want to go, but you just start walking, that can be a nice stroll. But when it comes to a Reiki business, that can leave us meandering all over the place and really having no idea if we've arrived at a place where we want to be. However, if we have a general direction, I'm going to walk out my door and I'm going to walk north because I'm curious about what I might find when I go north. Then you have direction. And when you have direction, you have more purpose in your movement. And even though, yes, indeed, strolling is really fun and strolling has its benefits, when we have a general direction, then we're going to have an idea of knowing what we want when we find it. You know that saying, well, I don't know what I want, but I'll know what it is when I find it? Well, maybe, but probably you'll have an easier time finding something if you know what it is you're looking for. And so that means if you have a general direction, you don't have to know everything. You don't have to have everything figured out. As a matter of fact, none of us do. But when we have a general direction, that can guide us. And so when it comes to our planning and visioning for our Reiki business, when we have a general vision of what we want in our Reiki business, then that vision can guide us for our next steps. So, do you do planning and visioning in your Reiki business? Are you planning out the whole year? Are you planning out the next few weeks? Are you planning out you have no idea what you're doing? Absolutely, drop it down below. Let us know. And this week's episode of the Build Your Reiki Business podcast offers lots more encouragement for our New Year planning and our New Year visioning and goal setting, whether you decide to do it or not. I'll drop that link down below, and I'm sending lots of blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business.